I rebuilt a client's agent stack on MCP last month, and the invoice showed up in 3 places I didn't expect. If you're reading the MCP explainers and thinking this replaces your API adapter mess for free, you're about to walk into the same trap I did. In the next 9 minutes, I'll show you the exact 3 taxes MCP charges once you go past the demo, the break-even, where it starts paying you back, and the auth pattern I now use on every client build. I'm Lazar. I ship AI automations end-to-end for small businesses on my own home server in production. Let's start with the tax that hit me first. Here's the 30-second recap so we're speaking the same language. A traditional API integration means your code holds the adapter. You write a HubSpot wrapper, a Gmail wrapper, a Notion wrapper, and your agent calls into functions you defined. Tool discovery lives in your source code. MCP flips that. The tool catalog moves out of your code and into the model's context window. The agent asks a server what tools exist, reads the schema at runtime, and picks one. That's the entire architectural shift. Everything the explainers celebrate flows from that one move. Dynamic discovery. Swap a CRM without redeploying. Add a tool by pointing at a URL. All true, and all of it comes with a bill nobody itemizes. Let me walk you through the 3 lines on that bill, in the order they hit me on a real client rebuild. Tax number 1, all surface explodes. On the old stack, the client had one .n file, one place where secrets lived, one rotation policy. After I moved 6 tools behind MCP servers, I had 6 credential life cycles to manage. Each server needed its own token, its own refresh flow, its own scope decisions. Gmail wanted auth with a browser handoff. The internal invoicing tool wanted a static bearer. The CRM wanted a rotating key every 24 hours. None of that goes away because you moved to MCP. It just moves. And it moves from your application code, which you understood, into a fleet of small servers, which you now have to monitor. First week after the switch, I had 2 silent failures where a token expired on a Sunday and the agent just quietly stopped booking meetings. No stack trace. Just fewer meetings on Monday. That is a real cost. Budget for it. Tax number 2, namespace collisions. This one I did not see coming. 2 of the MCP servers I mounted both exposed a tool called Search. One searched contacts in the CRM. The other searched documents in the knowledge base. The model looked at the tool list, saw 2 things called Search, and picked wrong on roughly 22% of runs in my first evaluation batch. 22%. On a client automation that qualifies leads, that is not a rounding error. That is bad data flowing into a sales pipeline. The fix is not hard once you know to look for it. You prefix tools at the server level, you write tighter descriptions, you sometimes disable tools the agent doesn't need on a given task. But nobody in the MCP marketing tells you that tool naming is now a design discipline. It is. Treat it like database schema, because that is what it is now. Tax number 3. And this is the one that changes how you debug forever. When a tool call fails on a traditional API integration, you get a stack trace. You know which function was called, what arguments went in, what came back. On MCP, when something goes wrong, you're often debugging the model's selection logic. Did the agent pick the wrong tool? Did it pick the right tool with the wrong arguments? Did the tool return correctly and the agent misread the response? 3 completely different failures, and from the outside they all look like the automation didn't work. I now log every tool selection with the full tool list the model saw at that moment, the description strings, and the arguments. That instrumentation did not exist in my old stack because it did not need to. In the new stack, it is non-negotiable. Plan for a full day of observability work you were not planning for. So what is the honest verdict? After running both patterns side by side on real client work, here is the rule I use now. If the automation talks to 2 or 3 tools and the stack is fixed, plain API adapters still win. They are cheaper to run, faster to respond, and easier to debug. The MCP overhead is not worth it. But the moment you cross about 4 tools, or the moment a client says the words "we might switch our CRM next quarter," MCP starts paying you back. The onboarding time for a new tool on the old pattern was around 2 days. On MCP, once the auth pattern is standardized, it is about 90 minutes. That is real leverage. That is why I still recommend MCP for client work where the stack is going to move. Just go in with your eyes open. Price the 3 taxes. Standardize your auth pattern before you scale past 2 servers. Prefix your tool names from day 1. And instrument tool selection like it's a production database. Do that and MCP earns its keep. Skip it and you'll ship an automation that looks great on Tuesday and mysteriously drops leads on Sunday. If you're evaluating MCP for a real client automation and you want the failure modes documented before you commit budget, we've written up the full teardown, including the auth pattern I now use on every MCP build at BizflowAI.io. That's also where you can see the automations we ship end-to-end for small businesses. If you found this useful, hit subscribe and ring the bell so the next teardown lands in your feed. And if you've got a workflow you want automated properly, book a free 30-minute discovery call at BizflowAI.io and we'll map it out with you.